Hello guys, welcome to the E-Man Games YouTube channel. We're at the European Championship with Joshua Schmidt. What did you do today and what did you play?
I got top 8 with like power spell Spright. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let's jump right into the deck profile.
Yeah, I mean, before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to the whole E-Man Games team, mainly
Sure.
Ben and Nico for preparing the deck together. Most of this was a team effort. I do think we did have the best deck in the room because of some very neat teching that we did. We played 3 blues, 3 jets, 1 pixie, 1 red, and 1 carrot. The pixies is the one that's not standard. I was advocating for the pixies because I wanted to play 9 Spright names. Because you often go through like, you'll always go to these 2 and then you take one of these out of your deck turn 1 and then like you start to run out of the 3rd Spright name, right? Because you kind of want to like, you know, like, and that's why I wanted 9 Spright names, and I valued the utility of pixies more than like a second red, because then like, of course second red is sometimes a better draw, but like having the pixies in the deck to protect your things, like when they go battle phase, use starters for blue, add the pixies so they can't run over your stuff. It came up like a couple times. It's just like the second red. I never missed the second red, so I'm very happy I played this one.
Did you ever like consider startering for a second red over like blue for pixies, or would it ever have been better if that was second
like,
red?
Turn 1 red and then they like dark ruler and you summon the second one?
Yeah, basically.
The thing is, the end board that I make doesn't have red on it, so like that's why I never missed the second one. That's pretty much it. Like the end board I make is, I always try to make this end board every single time without anything else, because this board cannot be super polyed. That's what we're trying to do when we're going first. So there's no red here, so even if they have dark ruler, we can still start it for a red if we want to.
Yeah, so second red is basically just a resource or like a hard draw thing, right?
Yeah. It's a better hard draw to play around hand trap than the 1 pixies.
Yeah.
The pixies was better, I think. As our normal summon, we play Beaver. We play no tuners, so there's no reason, like we don't play hand traps, so there's no reason to play Diva for like any Hulk combos. This one's better because it can summon from graveyard, but in like they're pretty much the same card, but this one's slightly better. I played this. No Duke Frog because, like I said, we don't want to play into Super Poly at all, so we don't summon Duke Frog with Toad. That's pretty simple. And then we play 1 Lilybell for the light stage as an extender, which was a pretty cool idea, I think. To play the light stage and to freeze back row going second, have an extender when you get like Gamma or something. It's been pretty good. I did draw this a couple times, but like as long as, if you don't have a second normal summon, it's actually fine to draw a level 2 normal summon. It's obviously not ideal. Sit for the monsters, no hand traps. Hand traps are bad this format. We played a lot of board breakers, but I'll get into the standard stuff. We played 3 starter and 1 smashers, 3 prosperity. All this should be standard. And then for the board breaker portion, we played 3 dark rulers, 3 talons. Yes. We played 2 enemy I'll talk about everything in a bit. The 2 light stages, 1 terraforming, 1 change of heart based, and 1 fall by the grave. So like, the idea behind this, we still go first unless you know it's Tearlament. Like against Herman in the feature match, because we prepared together and I talked to him a lot, I knew he was playing Tearlaments. If it's Tearlaments, you let them start, because if you draw mine against Tearlaments, you win the game every time, which I'll show you in a second why, which I'm not proud of it, but I'll show you. So the idea is we go first, blind, because the Spright board is very, very strong, and you will never die, like almost never die, if you make the standard Spright board, the one that I showed you, the Elf, Toad. Gin Buster is a board that's like very tempting for your opponent to go like battle phase, to bait a couple of your negates and then play in main phase 2, clear your board. And whenever they do that, drawing these cards in your hand when you go first is still really, really powerful. There's like a dozen times where I go first, they break my board, and I just be like, okay, have follow-up in hand, because I like bounce with swap turn 1 like a blue, add back a Beaver with Toad, and then like just Dark Ruler and play on turn 3. Or the same thing with mine, it's just like you can just mind them turn 3, and if they've used their smashers, the game's over. So yeah, it's like in this approach, Talents makes a lot of sense because it's like very, very good in breaking boards going second. Helps you play through hands. It's just a good card this format. Enemy is something that I added kind of last minute, but I think the idea behind this one was also really, really cool. So the idea is going second, this card is actually nuts in the mirror end against Tearlament, because you can do things like what I did in the feature match against Herman is like you normal summon Beaver, activate effect, they chain Drago's Tapelia to target it. You chain enemy controller, tribute this to take one of their things. This one still resolves because it never gets the counter. You take their thing and like you basically push through so many interruptions with this. In the mirror, you do similar things. Like you normal summon this, they toad it. You chain enemy on this target elf, and at this point, because you tribute for cost, they can't bring back their toad. So you take their elf before they can bring back the toad, and you get an elf too, which you can reborn with. So it's like it's really good. And the reason why I played this over, like we were playing Mind Control for a while next to the Change of Heart. The reason I switched to this is because it's like we still choose first, right? I didn't want to have too many cards that are like dead going first, because I did want to minimize the risk of actually dying. And so like going first with this is very good in the mirror because you can distribute, take their level 2 that maybe they can't play. You can do cool things where like they like try to go battle phase to make a Zeus and you just turn their XYZ to defense so it can't battle. Cool things like that. It's a good card. Yeah. So that's the main deck's 40 cards. Also, Change of Heart's surprisingly not bad when going first. Like, there's been a couple of games where they would Havness into Drago's Tapelia, I take the Drago's Tapelia, make Dark, and then the Drago's Tapelia comes to my field as an interruption. I've taken Gammas with this to keep playing because I didn't have a level 2 otherwise. Like, this card's really good this format. Yeah. So, for the extra deck, so this deck always tries to, like when you go second, you try to break the board, and even when you go first, you don't auto win because you don't back up like your board with like 2 or 3 hand traps. So usually people play into this deck quite a bit, and you end up playing like grindy games, unless Mystic Mind, of course. And that's why the extra deck is purely committed to like having a good grind game. So we play 3 Elf, we play Dark, and we play Area, which is busted in the mirror. Like this card gives you a huge advantage in the mirror. We play Phoenix, and we play this, which I found this like a couple days ago, and I proposed the idea of when you play against tier elements, you activate Mystic Mind and you put a Beat Cop counter on it. So the first time it be destroyed, it does not get destroyed. And the thing is, every tier element player in the room plays 1 Galaxy Cyclone, so they literally deck out, and this happened like 4 or 5 times. It's insane. I'm not proud of the idea, but it was it's just very unfair. Like this card needs to get banned, and this just shows it even more. Protector at all costs, you know. And the Phoenix is important for that because it helps you to bait out like Called by the Grave, Imperm, or the Sulliak trap before you make this when you play into the tier element board. Because if you mind, that's the only thing they can use, right? Super Poly, stuff like that. So if they have 1 back row, you should go this, pop it, make a Gigantic with this, summon the Dark, make Beat Cop, the game's over. If they have 2 back row, you can even go with this, and then you can smash us the other back row and still do this. It's like, it's insane. Like, this deck always beats, it should always beat tier element game 1. 2 Gigantic, my boy. Gin Buster, as I said, we try to end on this one. Onibimaru, this is the most cuttable card in the extra deck, I think, but it's still, I think, is the best one for this slot. And then the Zeus package, which is, I don't think I missed anything. I don't think you need IP. I think this is optimal, pretty much. The side deck is 1 Bank Top, 1 Red Resonator. The reason this deck has to play this is because tier element decks just take too long to play. Like I said, we mine them. They sometimes don't scoop. We Dark Ruler them. The games take forever. And like when we go to time with this deck, because the best card in our deck, or like one of the best cards in our deck, just loses us life points. We would literally lose almost every single time in timeout. We're also super vulnerable to like when you go first, 3 minutes left before time, you make a board, it's super easy to do some damage against you. So like, unfortunately, you need to play this card. I don't like it, but it's more of a fault of the time rules. It's like, it happened once to me, only luck. I was trying to play fast the entire tournament. I only used it once in a game that I would have otherwise lost because of cards like this. So like, it's warranted, but I don't like it, but yeah. Played 3 Lightning Storms. I decided to play this for tier elements because I'm worried about cards like Skill Drain, Summon Limit, stuff like that. It doesn't work against Anti-Spell, but Anti-Spell kills the entire deck, and people shouldn't really be playing Anti-Spell in this format. So this one's really good. Same as Feather Duster. I played 1 Cosmic Cyclone because I was afraid of people doing the same thing. Like a surprising amount of people, like the stuff got leaked about this for the tournament, so a couple of people are doing it, so I wanted to have this, and it's like a good card in general. And then because we play the Dark Rulers and the Mines in the main deck, we need a lot of cards for going first. We like, surprisingly, for the standard matchups, we don't actually side much for going second. Like against Spright going second, I'll side like this. And it's about it. Going first though, like if we want to go first, we side in this. this and this. It was 3 and 3 in the beginning, but I think it makes more sense to go 2, 2 and 2 simply because if you draw this, it's better than having 2 a pointer, and this is better than having 2 barriers. So it's just like we take out the 3 mines and the 3 dark rulers most of the time going first for the 6. Normally I don't advise siding so much for going first, but because the main deck's already so busted going second, it was a good idea to do this. And I played 2 evenlies, which was a last minute addition because I realized I have to side a lot of cards out against like trap decks. I have to side out the Mystic Mines, the Dark Rulers, probably the enemies, the Talons. It's like I legit have to side out like 11 or 12 cards. So I decided if I put these 2 in, I can even side this because it's like not the end of the world. If they have a full port, you can like trap trick for evenly in their battle phase. It's like fine. I didn't play a single trap deck though, so it never came up. But like the evenly itself was okay because I also sided against like Thunder and stuff. Like you like surprisingly have like your game 1 against these types of decks is very bad because like board breakers don't do anything. So like both sides we have like we just overdose on the stuff like, and that's how we beat back decks after sessions. So yeah, that's it. I think the deck was very, very strong. I think my top 8 loss against Tillman was very unfortunate. He was a nice guy, so he just drew very well in game 3. A very unfortunate hand that he needed a very specific hand and mills to beat me, but he got there. It's all right. He was nice, so it's whatever. I wish I could have taken the Toad further one last time, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, that's it. Shout outs to the team. And shout outs to everyone I traveled with and stayed with. And oh yeah, and thank you to Nadir for giving me the Toad dice. That one was cool. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Check out our social media and E-Man Games on Card Market.